Hello and welcome to Music Videos on a Budget with me, Andrew Tregoning. So maybe you're a solo artist or you're in a band and you're looking to make a music video to promote your music online, but you don't have the budget to pay a professional. Don't worry, you can do it yourself with the help of these videos. I've put together a series of very simple how-tos that will hopefully give you a few tips on how to make a video for yourself for next to nothing. So here we go. I've laid out 4 simple steps on how you can make a music video. Step 1, camera. Step 2, concepts. Step 3, filming. And step 4, editing. In this video, I'll be addressing step 1. I recommend a DSLR, preferably a Canon. Simply because these cameras are very easy to get hold of, they're very cheap, they're very easy to use. And we've all probably got a friend or a family member that's got one they got for Christmas collecting dust somewhere. If you can't borrow one for free, you'll be able to hire one on a daily rate of about £40 or $50 a day. Just Google it. I personally use a Canon 550D or a Canon 600D for all my music videos. Clients have asked me in the past for a red camera or some other kind of cinema grade camera, but to be honest, it's always worked out a bit more trouble than it's worth, because to be honest, the videos ending up on YouTube, and so it doesn't really matter if you've got an incredible camera really, and it's also very hard to use, and it also costs about 400 quid a day. So yeah, stick to your DSLRs. If you're a solo artist, you can get a mate to operate it, or if you're in a band, you can sort of take turns to use the camera, or you can use a tripod for the whole thing. You'll work it out. The lenses that you do get with these cameras, these DSLRs, are usually absolutely fine, unless you're going to be filming inside where there's no natural light. Then you might want to start looking at a different kind of lens. So in these low light conditions, the spec you're looking for on these lenses is the F number. Something like this. It's an 80-90 pound Canon lens. It's got an F number of 1.8, which is really good. It means the iris can open up really wide to let in the maximum amount of light. The kit lens on these cameras generally opens up to about 3.5, which is absolutely fine if you're shooting outside during the day. So using the thing. You can use a tripod, but I tend to use it handheld most of the time. I do that because it's a lot more flexible, it's a lot quicker to set up shots, and it gives the whole video like a feeling of energy. When shooting with the camera, you want to keep all your muscles loose, bend your knees, and keep your hands out in front of you like you're holding like a really full cup of tea. Don't worry too much about shaking. If you're shaking a little bit, we can sort that out in the editing stage. There are 2 major technical things you need to worry about when using a camera. These are focus and light. So focus. If your subject is going to be moving throughout the shot, you want to use your less dominant hand to manually focus during the shot. If they're not moving, you want to use autofocus before you hit record. And a little pro tip is you want to focus in right on the eye, and you can use, on these DSLRs, you can use a little digital zoom button to really zoom in really close and make sure you focus right on the eye. Now light. Light is a bit more tricky. There are 3 variables you can control on your camera: ISO, shutter speed, and the f-stop number. They all have pros and cons, which I'll go into now. ISO is basically like turning the volume up on your camera. So the image is brighter, but then there is image distortion. In this case, it comes across as noise or grain on the image. So generally speaking, don't go above 800 ISO or it gets too grainy. Shutter speed. So the pros to turning down the shutter speed is that, again, you get a brighter image. But the cons are that the image becomes more blurry. So you generally don't want to go below a shutter speed of 50. And finally, f-stop. So the lower the f-stop number, the brighter the image is going to be, and also you get a lovely professional blurry looking background. But the cons to that are that it's harder to keep your subject in focus. 2 other things you need to choose before you start filming are the resolution and the frames per second, also known as FPS. On these DSLRs, you usually want to use 1080p and 25 frames per second. If you want to do some slow motion, you're going to have to start looking at filming in 50 FPS or 60 FPS. But I'll talk about that in my 4th video. Sound. Obviously you won't need sound for your music video, but if you make sure that the mic on the camera is turned on, it will really help out step 4, editing. So that's the basics of using a DSLR camera to shoot your very own music video on a budget. Please leave a comment or a question in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I've been Andrew Tregoning, and please click here to watch the second step concepts video. It's a bit long.